What's up? As you guys know, the biggest leverage thing on your entire store is your offer. It's not your funnel, it's not your pre-sales page, it's not your post-purchase funnel, it's nothing else but your offer, okay? If your offer is bad, nothing is going to work, you're not going to be profitable. It doesn't matter if you're the best creative strategist in the world, if you have the best ads, whatever. If your store is not able to get you a high revenue per visitor and actually keep people to buy again and again and again, then you're not going to make it in e-com nowadays, okay? It's just more than it was 5-10 years ago. And I want to kind of break down exactly in this video how to really go from having a terrible bad offer, which makes you literally $0 a visitor, to a store which converts at a $10 a visitor and gets people to buy 100 times from you. The very first thing that I want to show you guys is I want to reframe your mindset when it comes to offers, because you guys probably all do either of these two. So a beginner would probably look at a product like this. This is my supplement product. This is my sleep product here, the melatonin gummies. Essentially what a complete beginner would do, he would just put it on their website, make it 30, let's say cost of goods are like $8, right? Then they probably just put it on their website, tell it for $34.99 instead of $70, put a 50% off offer on it. Boom, easy. But this offer doesn't convert anymore. Like offers like this really convert at a very, very low level, and your revenue per visitor is going to be terrible. So what all the gurus recommend you do is you sell it for a bundle discount, right? Buy one for $29.99, buy two for $40, buy three for $50, right? This is what the normal guru offer would be like. However, the problem with this one is, once again, people don't come back and buy again, and this is not being different from any competitors, because this is what most of your competitors would do. So this is what probably a little bit more of an advanced person, an advanced dropshipper would do. However, I want you to check out this offer right here. Let's say we give them the option to either buy one for $40, right, which is the worst deal out of this, but the second option is actually subscribing, a subscription model. And so you can use something like recharge, something like seal subscriptions, whatever you use. It's very easy to technically set up a subscription. However, you got to think about it this way. Let's say the minimum time to stay subscribed is 3 months. The first month is only $9, and then from then on it's monthly $30, and then they stay however long they want to stay. So I'm just going to compare these offers right here. Let's just do the math on these, right? This one obviously 35 minus 8, you're left with a $27 break-even point. Okay, really good. However, this is not going to convert like you want it to. This offer here as well is going to convert a lot better than this one, but it's not going to have that crazy of a margin, or it's going to have the max, like best case, the same margin as this one. So for these two offers, you have a pretty decent margin, but in fact, you're not going to be that profitable. And this is probably the, still more preferable offer structure than this one. However, I want you to do the math on this one, because let's say most people take the $9, right? Most people take, the actual real big discount, the subscription model, and they think, okay, well, I'm only paying $9 for this, right? But then monthly, and it's minimum 3 months, it's actually then $30. So it's actually what they're paying is $70 minus 24, you're left with a $46 margin, $46, and it's much more attractive than these two. So this offer is going to convert more, convert higher, make you more revenue per visitor, and leave you with a $46 break even. You can do everything wrong in your creatives. You can still throw money at Facebook and still be profitable with an offer like this. And in fact, you can mention in all of your offers that your product is only $9, which is going to massively boost and skyrocket the conversion rate, right? And this combined is going to increase everything in your funnel. Now, I'm not telling you to only sell supplements, to only sell consumables, to only sell subscriptions. I want you to, from now on, think outside the box, be different, be unique. Like, no guru would tell you to do this, and there's a reason for that, right? And do the exact opposite of what everyone else is doing, what everyone else is going, right? And so let's keep going. Well, the process to actually build a cold-friendly offer, which is essentially just able to convert very, very unaware people, because that's what an offer like this is able to do. And imagine if someone comes to your store, has no clue who the hell you are, and sees, okay, $9, well, I'm going to take this, right? It's a no-brainer offer. It's an inevitable. They would be stupid if they said no to that offer, right? So the way that you actually create an offer like this is analyze, A/B test, and iterate. Analyze, which is essentially looking at all the competitors in the same product for the same product, and all the competitors in the same niche, and all the competitors in the entire e-com market, the biggest ones of these, and actually noticing patterns. What do all these have in common when it comes to their offers? Now, there's two things which you can do afterwards, which is actually being completely different, or just iterating what they have been doing, just blending it together, seeing all the common variables, and then actually building your offer like that. That is how I would do it, right? So the second step is A/B testing it, right? Because obviously you don't know if an offer will work or not until you've actually tested it. You can be the best marketer in the world. If you don't test your offers, you won't know for sure. You won't have 100% certainty that it will actually work like you want it to. And so one thing which you have to do when it comes to your offers is A/B test it. Have two offers at the same time. Just if you have never heard of A/B testing, it's basically having the traffic coming from the same traffic source. So you have the same traffic quality. However, you split up your URL, your landing page, into two different product pages which look the exact same, but it's only a different offer on each of these. And you can see in real time which one makes you more money per visitor. And that is the metric which you should be looking at. Stop looking at only conversion rate. Stop looking at only average order value. You should be looking at your revenue per visitor, right? Both of these combined, okay? And from then on, you just iterate, because you at some point you're going to turn off an A/B test. Obviously, that's the point of an A/B test. At some point, you're going to be finished with it and you're going to turn it off. So let's say you figure out, okay, offer 2 was a lot better that I tested. It made me more money per visitor. Well, you're going to set up a new split test, a new A/B test, which is closer. Both offers are this time closer to offer 2. And you can do this process 100,000 times until you have an offer which makes you $100 a visitor. Okay, you can do that again and again and again and again and iterate until it breaks. You can do that so often. I never have no split test running on my stores. I always A/B test, even though if I'm making a lot of money, even if I'm profitable, like very, very, very profitable. So at the end of the day, what makes a really good cold friendly offer is just the value price discrepancy, right? The value price discrepancy means the gap between the value, what people get between, and what people pay, which is the price, is as big as possible. Okay. So that is the goal of an offer. Now, how do you actually do this? Well, you can maximize the value by looking at the value equation right here. It's the dream outcome times the perceived likelihood of achievement divided by time delay times effort and sacrifice. What does all this mean, right? This is from the book $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi, best book I've ever read in my life. But think about it this way. If you actually talk about the deepest dream human desire outcome that people just wanna or can't even get, right? Instead of talking about the technical benefits, actually talking about how is this product that I'm selling gonna change their lives, right? How is this gonna change their emotions? The deeper you talk about the dream outcome and the more you actually sell the right outcome that you need to test, the more money you're gonna make overall, okay? Very important. Second thing is the perceived likelihood of achievement. So how much do they actually believe when they do take your offer, they're going to achieve that dream outcome, right? So there's ways to maximize this too with reviews, social proof. You can do this with a guarantee, probably the strongest way. All these different things, which essentially just increase the likelihood or their perceived likelihood that if they take your offer, they're actually going to get to their dream outcome, right? And then on the bottom of the equation, we have the time delay. How long is your shipping? How long do they actually have to use your product until they achieve the dream outcome times the effort and sacrifice, right? So how much does it cost? How much do they actually have to do? For this example right here, for my product up here, time delay, probably very quick because it works within like 15-20 minutes and shipping is pretty fast. And effort and sacrifice is also pretty low because they just have to take a gummy. For example, if you sell workout plans or something like that, obviously, or if you sell a gym membership, the effort and sacrifice is going to be a lot higher because people actually have to consistently go there, for example, right? So it really depends on what you sell. And so in order to really maximize the value as much as possible from your offer, you have to maximize the dream outcome, maximize the perceived likelihood of achievement, minimize the time delay, and minimize the effort and sacrifice. That is how you maximize the value. And then obviously the only thing you have to do from there is just charge accordingly, still charge more than your competitors, right? Which leaves you with a higher net margin, but at the end of the day, your value is so much higher than that from everyone else, so you make more money overall. Okay, very, very important. Now I want you to take a look at 2 examples right here. This is the brand Kino Body, and this is Dr. Sam's. This is a skincare brand, and this up here is a supplement brand. So one thing which you can see here is they combine a whole entire course, right, with a supplement. And so this is like, fat burner supplement, but they sell an entire course to it, right? And so once again, this should give you the idea to be completely different, to be creative, because this is possible too. And he can charge so much money for an offer like this, once again, leaving him with a lot of net margin. Doesn't even have to get a really good CPA on his ads because he can just throw money at Facebook and just still be profitable and scale higher than the competition just because he can spend more money per customer, right? Doesn't even need to compete on these little 10% improvements on the funnel and on the ads, right? He just has an offer which is so much better than everyone else's, right? Same thing here. This brand here sells to like basically their skincare stuff, a Facebook community, right? So like a community. So every part of like an offer, you can have, you can have courses, free gifts. So like in terms of ebooks, you can have communities, Facebook groups, right? Be creative, be different from everyone else. Once again, that's going to be the main takeaway that you can get from this video. Now, I've made a checklist how to actually build a code-friendly offer like this, okay? So every offer that I've ever seen scale super high, or that ever scaled super high for me personally, had these 4 things. First of all, insane perceived value. We just talked about that. Make the offer value price discrepancy as big as humanly possible. Second thing though is a short sales cycle. You have to push as much urgency as possible on your ads, on your website, for people to actually take the offer right now. And you have to give a reason why it doesn't make sense to wait. You have to remind them of the cost of inaction. That's number 2. Number 3 is the mass market desire and the timing of when you launch your offer. So the market desire, the mass market desire is obviously, like I've just mentioned before, talking about the dream outcome, making it, basically presenting it as big as possible, talking about the deepest desires that your offer can talk about, and timing it correctly, which is analyzing the trends in the market and launching it at the right time. And all these things do matter, and all these things will make a huge difference overall. Same thing for your unfair advantages. Use every single unfair advantage that you can use overall in every single part of your business, especially in your offer. Because check out what these guys were doing. Well, this brand right here is actually from a influencer, right? It's an influencer's brand. He's the face of the brand. And so his advantage here is that if he drops a course within his offer, people take it, people actually value it. If someone random does this who doesn't even want to show their own face, right, to the brand, of course it's not going to work. But he has an unfair advantage that he can use. And so once again, be different, completely different from all the competitors. Now, when it comes to the short sales cycles, I was kind of talking about before, when it comes to the checklist, I actually want to double down on that and really let you guys know what makes a short sales cycle. First of all, it's actually the urgency, which I mentioned before, but the second thing is the risk reversal. And this is something which you can do in your ads, but especially on your website, this is not used at all by most dropshippers. And this is a big mistake for any e-com brand out there, because if you don't do this the proper way, you're literally missing out on a lot of money, like a big amount of money. And so the way to do this correctly is to have a very strong guarantee and social proof. And then for both of these, flexing these as much as possible, because people can copy your offer, but they can't copy your proof. And also the same thing for a guarantee. If you have a really strong guarantee, you should flex it as much as possible. Like I like to put my guarantee in the first product picture. So that is the only thing literally besides the product itself. And that's the first thing that people visually put their eyes on, okay? Because I want them to see that first. I want them to feel, okay, I have zero risk when it comes to doing this. There's absolutely zero risk. I don't lose time, I don't lose money, I don't lose anything if this doesn't work out for me. And that is what you want to do. That is basically the foundation of every short sales cycle ever, right? Same thing, by the way, for social proof. If you have very good social proof, you have to flex it. Literally put it everywhere on your entire store. You can flex as much as possible. You can put it on all the places overall, and it's probably the most powerful way overall, like at all, in the entire e-com space to just get more. It's the easiest way to just boost up the perceived likelihood of achievement as much as humanly possible. Now, when it comes to the unfair advantages that you can have, there's pretty much 4 things which you can and should all implement into your business so that you can really make that also a big part of your offer, right? First one is a superior business structure. And so that is especially, for example, focusing on the LTV, the lifetime value of each customer. This is exactly what I was giving an example on in the beginning. As you can see here, if we have a subscription model, you will literally have people that forget they're subscribed to you and they just stay forever. So the $46 margin is the bare minimum that you have. Like that's minimum. Realistically, it's going to be probably like 50, 60. So it's going to be a lot higher than you think it is. And so if you have a superior structure overall, if you make more money because everything is better, everything works better than the competitors, then you can also charge more money money and just be more profitable overall and spend more money on Facebook, everything's going to fall into place if you have a superior business structure. The second thing is a unique mechanism in your solution. So actually competing on the product itself, actually competing on the features, how the product works for people, right? Obviously backing that up by a bunch of social proof, because whenever you have a unique mechanism and like something which is, done completely differently than all your competitors, people will kind of, not trust you as much because they've never seen something like that before, right? Really important to back it up with proof and like studies and everything, like social proof, authority proof, all the kind of proof that you can imagine. But unique mechanisms are probably, the second easiest way to just really, really push the unfair advantages that you can have inside of your business. Now, third thing is a new market, right? So trying the same exact setup in new countries where no one has ever run an offer like this before. If it's the US, if everyone's running to the US, listen, there's no need for you to run ads to the US. There's no rule that you have to sell everything to the US. Absolutely not, right? It's absolutely not the case. Yeah, maybe it's like the highest traffic quality, but if you say like, if anyone tells you the US is the best market overall, it's not really the case. There's no best market, okay? It's just maybe it's like it's even harder to go from 0 to 1 in that market. So think about it this way. And the unused traffic source one is really something which I love because you can do a lot of stuff. You can do, mainly position yourself mainly only in Google ads, right? A lot of brands only specifically do like basically everything that they do on Google ads and nowhere else. A lot of brands, what they do essentially is, for example, they have a lot of traffic sources. But let's say no one runs it on TikTok Shop. Maybe no one runs it on native ads. Native, like you see the weather.com ads, that is also a very good way. And a couple things which can also or will also happen to you whenever you launch your first couple offers here is the first one, obviously getting high add to cart rates but low sales. This is a very clear indicator that your upfront price is slightly too high, right? Because whenever, obviously, now I'm kind of expecting that everything in the technical setup works and people can check out and you have free shipping and all that kind of stuff. If that is the case, then your upfront price is slightly too big, because never forget that you're selling to actual real human beings and real people. So how it's going to happen is usually a lot of people add to cart, but then they realize, I'm not 100% sure. They have these second thoughts and then they leave, right? So whenever I get really, really good add to cart rates but low sales, what I like to do is I like to slightly decrease my upfront price. And what that's going to do is it's going to even more slightly increase the add to cart rate, but then actually massively increase the actual conversion rate. And that's the goal. That's the move what you should make there. Now, on the other hand, if you have a low add to cart rate and low sales, then obviously there's something wrong with your whole entire offer structure in the first place. So you can't really go ahead and do the same stuff, which just makes it a little bit cheaper. Usually it's a problem with the offer structure. Usually there's a problem with the price value discrepancy. So yeah, it could be that you overcharge your offer, but it's probably more of like, okay, you chose the wrong offer structure and you don't have a very appealing offer to begin with, right? And you don't have the right ways to enhance it. You don't have the right guarantees. You haven't flexed your guarantee enough, right? You're missing social proof. All these small things you miss, right? It's like you just literally don't have enough of these ways to enhance offers. You don't have a strong enough, offer structure in the first place. And so that's what I would attack first. That's what I would start at. That's what I would focus on. And my favorite metric on my ads is the cost per add to cart. And so you want to have ideally a third of what your ideal cost per purchase should be, right? So if you aim for like a $20 cost per purchase, you want to have lower than like a $6-7 cost per add to cart. Let's say $3-4. If you're getting that is a very good sign. And the cool thing is you see that very early on, right? When you run Facebook ads, you see very early on, first, immediately after the CPMs, you see the cost per add to cart, right? When you start getting the first add to carts coming in, obviously, especially at scale when you're testing new creatives, right? My favorite metric to check out is the cost per add to cart. And you can play a lot around with landing pages, with, sending people to a collection page before actually, sending them to the product page or any pre-sale page or stuff like that to enhance, a whole customer experience to essentially disqualify people. But I like to really look for cost per add to cart, like really look for ads to carts very, very early on and very cheaply to actually get the highest ROI. And it's like usually when you look at your cost per add to carts recently and your ROAS, there's like a direct correlation between those two. So it makes a lot of sense for you to go ahead and actually check that out. Okay. I think that is probably the most valuable thing that I can tell you as well. But overall, that was pretty much it. overall, that was pretty much it for this video, guys. That was pretty much it, how to build and actually test a really good offer. Go ahead and implement this into your business right now, because if you don't do this, then yeah, you just lost 15-20 minutes of your time. So thank you so much for giving me your most important asset, which is your attention, and I wish you a beautiful day.